So, good morning for those of you in morning places. Good afternoon for those of you in afternoon places. Good evening and good night for those of you in evening and night places. And to be able to make those distinctions requires the ability to make distinctions. And that's kind of the theme for today, is the making of distinctions. Not making of them, but recognizing distinctions. And to really, as mindfulness gets established, as we have greater clarity in our perception of the present moment, it can be a very relaxed perception, clarity. But as there's less preoccupations and thoughts and reactions that cloud the eyes, clouds the mind, and we're just here with clarity, it can be similar, perhaps, like for me, between, well, nowadays it's a little different, but between someone who is nearsighted and wears glasses and then takes off the glasses. That without the glasses it's all a blur, and with the glasses there's clarity. And with that clarity is a capacity to make distinctions. In fact, to see clearly is because we can see more and more subtle or precise distinctions between things. So the nearsighted person might, I see there's two dots over there. A nearsighted person would see the two dots, maybe they would just blur together as one dot. But with the clarity, they would see, oh, there's two dots there. If there is in the far wall where I'm looking at now, there's a door, and the door and the wall are the same color. And without glasses, a nearsighted person might not really see the very subtle distinction between the door and it's a kind of an emergency exit door, so doesn't stand out clearly. And so the line is kind of subtle. So for a nearsighted person, that line would not be very distinct and would really be seen as a door versus a wall. So as we settle down in meditation, and we have more and more, we're present for our experience with greater clarity, less distraction, less preoccupation, less reactivity, then we start noticing that in the present moment, the details of the present moment stand out and highlight. And some of that is to make distinctions between things. And one of the distinctions that we make in mindfulness of breathing is a distinction between the inhalation and the exhalation. And the experience of each is distinct. They are different from each other. And to start becoming aware of that difference, it stands out a little bit in highlight that with the inhale there might be a movement of expansion, and the exhale there's contraction. And the inhale there's a rising of the chest perhaps, or expansion of the belly, and the exhale that's falling of it. And so there are many distinctions to be made, and one of the distinctions that after a while become clearer and clearer is that there is a beginning of the inhale and there's an end of an inhale. And just as the inhale and exhale have distinct sensations, so the beginning has distinct, unique sensations that are different than the end. Now, to start looking for a distinction, it becomes work and searching, and that is not what we're talking about for anapanasati. It's not really looking and searching for the work of distinction, but rather it's to the relaxed, dedicated presence of attention. Here, things start standing out in highlight. Kind of like you don't work when you put on your glasses and then you see more clearly because the glasses is there. And so when the glasses of mindfulness are present, then these distinctions just appear. And they appear for people who don't really, doesn't occur to them maybe even to think about, oh, now I'm seeing distinctions. But they're there, and they become, and as we get more and more refined, then more and more clarity comes up, which takes the form of making distinctions. So this is not meant to be work, but meant to be almost a deeper and deeper relaxation, and then a registering of what happens when what we experience like that. Just a registering, just allowing. Oh, it's like this. So taking a meditation posture and making a distinction between a posture which is both alert and comfortable and one that's not. Adjusting the body so that it feels like you're more here, more present with your body. If you were going to practice mindfulness with your body being more alive and sensitive, what posture would you take? And then to close your eyes and to take a few long, slow, gentle breaths. Maybe breathe deeply enough you can feel the stretching of your rib cage, lifting, and then how that collapses or falls back as you exhale. And if you're subtle enough, maybe you can even feel in the inhale, deep inhale, the space formed that grows between the ribs. And how that space comes back, disappears as you exhale. You might notice with a deep inhale that chances are most of the sensations of deep inhale are in the front half of the torso. The sensations of inhaling are more subtle in the back rib cage. And then allowing your breathing return to normal. And now notice, see the distinction between the deeper inhale and what would be closer to a normal breath. What are the sensations like now of the inhale? What happens in your back rib cage? And as you exhale, to relax your body, soften what can be softened. Softening the muscles of the face, around the eyes and forehead. Maybe around the jaws. relaxing the shoulders and feeling the difference, the distinction between the tighter shoulders and the looser ones, if it happens that they loosen. And softening the belly. And noticing what it's like for you now in your mind. If it's sleepy, maybe there's a way of brightening the mind. Maybe brightening it on the inhale. If the mind is tense, agitated, maybe relaxing the mind as you exhale. Letting go of your thoughts. Maybe letting go of thoughts a bit like pulling the curtains away from a window. Pulling the curtains away from your ability to feel and sense and experience your breathing. And allow yourself to receive or take in the inhale. Let it register in a relaxed way, in a clear enough way so that when you exhale, your body can really feel the difference between the inhale and the exhale. Allowing your body to feel the distinctions. So it's not so much you're working to make distinctions. It is that you're feeling so fully that of course your body can feel the difference between what it's like to inhale and exhale. And to recognize or register the particular sensations or qualities of the breath. It does involve, without working at it, but it does involve the mind's ability to make distinctions. So, for example, noticing if the inhales and exhales are long, or are they short, rapid or slow. It's all okay as the way it is. Your job just to notice how it is. Does your body experience either the inhale or the exhale as longer or shorter than the other? And don't answer the question with your mind, but allow yourself to become quieter so you feel and experience more carefully, so the body reveals which is longer or shorter, or that they're the same length. Does the body experience the breathing in a shallow way or in a deep way? In that time of while you're breathing, are there times when there's more sense of movement and more a sense of stillness in the breathing? Any expansion and contraction. Any feeling of pressure maybe as you inhale, and release of pressure as you exhale. Any shifting feelings of temperature, warmth and coolness. Are any of the sensations sharp, or any of them soft as you breathe? Any tingling or vibration? Does breathing feel rough and jagged, or smooth and soft. Any sensations of hardness and resistance, maybe at the top of the in-breath. Any sensations of softness or malleability. As if you're lovingly taking your hand to stroke a very smooth piece of wood that you're sanding or cleaning, or as if you're gently stroking the back of the head of a child, or lovingly allow your awareness to be stroked by the sensations of your breathing. Letting the thinking mind become quiet, clear, so you can really take in, really allow yourself to feel the body's experience of breathing. Entering into the world of the body breathing. Quieter and quieter, clearer and clearer, for the kaleidoscope of sensations that come into play as you're breathing. Noticing if there's any way the breathing is held back, and holding of the breathing. See if you can relax. Soften how you're breathing. And in doing so, allowing the body to feel breathing more distinctly. Even if it's subtle. The distinct experience of subtle breathing. And then coming to the end of this meditation, feeling yourself here, in this body at this time, in this spot. Maybe letting go, relaxing into where your body is touching your chair, your cushion, the floor, the bed. To really feel that you are here. And then distinct from you are all the people of your life who for right now are there, somewhere distinct from this place where you are. Maybe elsewhere in the room, in the house, in the neighborhood, in the town, in the land, in the globe. And the more we're grounded in ourselves, rooted in ourselves, the more we have to offer to others in terms of a clear, distinct awareness. The more we're able to really see someone else as distinct as their own self and how they are. And it's a gift to give others, to allow them to be as they are, and to see them as they are. It can almost be synonymous to see someone as they are, to see them and allow them to be who they are, and to appreciate them, to love them. To offer the gift of our kind regard, our presence, where we're not interfering with them, we're allowing them to be as they are. It's one way of expressing our love, our goodwill, our kindness to others, is to see them as they are and to appreciate them. Maybe not everything they do, but something about them that we settle back and see clearly, make a distinction. And perhaps you don't have to tell them so, that you're doing so. But see if you can open up a heart of kindness, goodwill. Maybe sitting here at this last moments of this meditation to tap into your capacity to appreciate and wish well to others. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be free of oppression. May all beings be free of distress. May all beings everywhere be free. So we're going to continue here on the Buddha's 16 steps of mindfulness of breathing and begin coming into the third step. So the first two steps, first one is to experience, to train oneself to really be present for and experience fully as one can, the inhales and exhales. And when the inhales and exhales are long, to experience them as long. To really be there in the experience. And when they're short, to really be there in the experience of them being short. And I use this word experience intentionally to make a distinction between trying too much to know or to understand, to search and to feel what's going on. And mindfulness is not a lot of work, but it's more like dialing in an old radio until you get just the right frequency so you can hear clearly. So you want to kind of dial in to really be present and experience the body. And then the first step is experiencing a long breath as a long breath. The second step is to, when the breathing becomes shorter, to experience as a shorter breath. And so inhale is shorter, or the exhale is shorter. Experience it as a shorter experience, shorter breath. So here we're seeing a distinction being made, two sets of distinction. One is a distinction between the inhale and the exhale. The other now between these first two steps is between a long breath and a short breath. And I interpret this to mean that as we're sitting and meditating, and we get calmer and more centered, that the breathing begins to shift and change. The heartbeat maybe slows down, the breathing slows down, And as the breathing slows down, it might not be as long. Now, of course, for sometimes when we're agitated, it's very fast and short, the breath. And so maybe the opposite is happening, that sometimes as we sit down, the breath does get longer, and as we get more settled and relaxed. But then later, you might find it gets more subtle and shorter and much more minute even, the experience of breathing. In deep meditation, there can be a sense of almost not breathing at all. And partly that's because we hardly need to breathe anymore. And we don't need much oxygen anymore to really, because we're not doing a lot, we're not being so active. And so so we're making these distinctions. Turns out that I keep using the word making, probably shouldn't do that because experiencing distinctions is a huge part of Buddhism. Buddhism is really based on our natural capacity to see differences between one thing and another. And we'll see that as we go through the 16 steps. Each of these steps is a new distinction, a new differentiation of things. So we're experiencing things more fully, more precisely, more clearly. And so beginning is just with the breathing. And I also interpret this idea of experiencing the long breaths and short breaths as being an encouragement to really kind of begin experiencing all the different qualities of sensations and experiences that come with each in-breath and out-breath. So whether it's fast or slow, whether breath feels tight or held or loose and relaxed, the expansion experiences and the contraction as the chest and the belly maybe expand and contract, the temperatures in the nostrils change with the in-breath and out-breath, the sense of sharpness sometimes on the in-breath and sharp sensation and more softer on the exhale. Sometimes the breathing, in-breath can feel jagged and rough, kind of jerky, and sometimes it's a nice, smooth kind of flow. Same thing with the exhale sometimes. And so to begin entering into this world of breathing and really experiencing more and more fully, excuse me, So experiencing the breathing more and more fully. And this is not meant to be work. It's meant to be almost I don't know if enjoying is the right word, in the same way that you would taste food more really fully and carefully if you really wanted to enjoy it. As if you're really going to enjoy the breath, you really feel it and sense it deeply. So, excuse me for my little cough here today, a little allergy, I guess. So then, as we settle into the breathing, what it means is we're no longer so distracted or caught up in our thoughts and preoccupations. And it can take quite a while for us to really settle down to the breathing and being in the breathing. And coming back over and over again to the breathing, letting go of our thoughts over and over again. And it's said that it doesn't matter how often the mind wanders off. It only matters that every time you do so, you bring it back in a nice way and start over again. And I love the expression starting over. And as we start over again repeatedly, the pull of thinking, the energy that goes into thinking begins to abate, and the thinking has less pull on us, and we find ourselves settled more and more here, relaxed, calm, in the present moment. As the mindfulness, and we're not just getting calm, and this is very important to understand. It's not just a process of using the breathing to get calmer and calmer and calmer. Because if we do that, then the mind's sharpness to make distinctions, natural distinctions, differentiations, to really feel things more fully and clearly, begins to also get dull. So it's not just about getting calm. That's why we want to have a certain degree of calmness and alertness or clarity in the mind. And so as the mind gets more settled and more in the present, more and more here, less and less distracted, we start taking in more experiences of what's happening for ourselves in the present moment. And we start becoming aware of the wider range of experience in the body. And there's a tendency for people who are doing mindfulness of breathing that as they settle in to experience their body more and more. And there's a more sense of embodiment and present. And so the third step of anapanasati is one trains oneself breathing in one experiences the whole body. Breathing out one experiences the whole body. And this idea of experiencing the whole body is the awareness now becomes more inclusive. We might still be centered on the breathing, but it's like the peripheral attention now begins experiencing more and more of the body. And this happens for a variety of reasons. The primary one I said now is because we're getting calmer and calmer and more relaxed and less distracted. Sometimes it's because as we settle in, we become acutely aware of where the body is held tight. The tensions of the body become clearer and clearer. And we become aware of the various tensions that we weren't aware of in daily life because we're so distracted and busy. And there's a phase of kind of an honest kind of meeting of all the holding patterns and the tensions that we carry that is part of the meditation practice. So part of this opening up to the body is the body revealing itself and saying, hey you, look how tense I am. Include me, pay attention to me too. And some of it is just kind of a natural expansion of attention to feel more and more. For some people, this experience in the whole body is more limited to the whole experience of the breath, what's called the breath body, the full range of how the body experiences the changes as we breathe in and breathe out. So the whole ways in which the diaphragm, the belly, the chest, the nostrils, the back of the throat, all the things that kind of together are the breath body. And some people interpret this to mean the whole body itself. And we're breathing now with the whole body. It's like the whole body is breathing with us. So there's many ways in which this experiencing the body comes into play at this third step. And so we'll talk about this as we go for the next days, because mindfulness of the body is really also very central to Buddhism as a whole, to the early Buddhism, teachings of the Buddha, and very important for this deepening process of breath at the 16 steps. Turns out the more we can be embodied, the easier it is to access or experience, receive the deeper benefits of meditation. So it's well worth spending time with mindfulness of the body and really learning to appreciate this more and more deeply. So we'll continue this journey of breath, and I'm hoping to lay out all kinds of different kind of angles and for appreciating the breathing more and more and more. And sometimes maybe it'll seem a little bit uninteresting for you, some of what I teach here around breathing, but it's the sum total of all these things together as we take them in and know them that we'll have a wider and wider range of connecting to the present moment, to the breathing, to meditation. And it's the whole package, both what's interesting and not interesting, that can help us begin opening up into this wonderful journey of meditation. So thank you, and I look forward to being again with you here again tomorrow.